Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Liz, and today, if you can't tell from the title of this video, or videos if you're watching this on TikTok, I'm going to be talking about my gastric bypass surgery. This is something I've wanted to do a sit-down video for you guys and talk about, but I don't like talking about myself, which is ironic because I like to do this for fun. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. And I'm going to do skincare, do my hair, and do my makeup while I'm talking about it. So with that being said, let's get into it, shall we? I will be straightening my hair, but first things first, I'm going to use my argan oil. I'm gonna put that on the ends and let that kind of marinate in while my straightener heats up, and so I can section my hair and put on some skincare. But so first things first, the elephant in the room, why did I have gastric bypass? I'm just putting my argan oil away. That's why I'm looking away. So, the reason why I had gastric bypass was not for a quick fix. A lot of people say if you have gastric bypass, you're doing it for a quick fix, and no, that was not the case. I was overweight, technically morbidly obese, and I have, at the time when I first thought about it, my youngest was 2. The first time I thought about having or electing to have weight loss surgery. So my youngest was 2. This was back in 2018. And I thought about having a VSG, which is a vertical sleeve gastrectomy. And I brought it up with my doctor. She was totally fine with it, but I got scared. And the reason I got scared is because my children were so young, and I didn't want them to have to deal with mommy being sick. We were also planning a wedding at the time, or planning our wedding when I was talking about it. So if I had to have it done before our wedding, I would have had to have a completely different wedding dress. Like, I was thinking of others before I was thinking of myself when it came to the logistics around having it done at that time. So, and at that time, we were supposed to get married in 2018, but that didn't happen because I got injured at my job in that year, and we decided to kind of take the year to just save up more money because we paid for our wedding ourselves. My parents bought my wedding dress. I DIY'd our wedding. I DIY'd all of the flowers, the bouquets, all of that. I did that. The centerpieces, I made them all. And I had a lot of fun doing it. I actually really, really enjoyed doing that. So if anybody I know is getting married, I will help you with all of your centerpieces and all your flowers and stuff, because I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. But so needless to say, I got injured, and we pushed back our wedding, and this was after I decided to not have the surgery. So fast forward to 2020, COVID. I lost my job, which sucks. And me and my husband decided to talk or revisit weight loss surgery. And I'm really happy we did, because that really was the catalyst of us both having the surgeries done. So in 2020, my husband is an essential worker because of the company he works for. So he was still working. I, unfortunately, like I mentioned previously, I lost my job because of COVID. I was in aerospace manufacturing, and at the time in COVID, aerospace, well, even before COVID, aerospace had a giant crash, and the company I worked for a very prominent company. Like, we're a subsidiary. I worked for a subsidiary company for that one. So they were laying off people anyway, and I just thought I wouldn't be one of the ones that was going to be laid off, and unfortunately I was. And that's fine. I totally get it. I understand it. I can go back there and work there at any time. HR there is they're really nice, and they felt really bad because I was in the last layoff before they reopened. So I was really hoping that I was going to be able to go back. But so my husband started talking about weight loss surgery, and he found our weight management program that we are a part of. He actually just got discharged from the program a year early because of how well he's done. And yeah, so we started talking about it, and he entered the program or got more information from it. Obviously, you have to get the referral from your PCP. And so his PCP referred him, and he started the program in February of 2021. And that's when I decided I was going to follow the same structure that he was. And I was going to fix my diet. I already eat pretty healthily, but it was more portion control. So I controlled my portions and I limited what I had. I upped my exercise. Now, mind you, I've worked in manufacturing since 2016. So, and on and off in customer service, aka McDonald's, since I was younger. So I've always worked on my feet. I'm always on my feet at work. There's never a time when I'm not on my feet running around doing something. So for me, extra exercise was making sure I just added in the time to go to the gym and work out and do extra walks with the kids on the weekends when my husband was at work, and just be more mindful of that. So from the time of February 2021 until I started the program technically it was in May of 2022, I lost 100 pounds by myself. And that was with portion control, extra exercising, making sure I was hitting my protein goal for the day, which at the time my protein goal was 70, which I didn't know was what they wanted me to be at anyway. I just guessed. So I lost 100 pounds by myself. I entered the program in May of 2022. And it's one of the happiest experiences I've ever felt, other than being a mom, meeting my husband, and becoming a wife. It's one of the happiest experiences I've ever had. So I meet my dietitian. We go over everything. She's really confused as to why I'm overweight, because the way I eat is very selective. And a lot of what I eat now is still influenced by how having COVID has affected my ability to eat food. I can't eat natural protein products, so like meat or anything like that, without getting sick. I've talked about it in a voiceover before, but I have an extremely hard time eating red meat and chicken breast, because if I eat it, I will get sick. I don't know what it is, but it's a post-COVID symptom, or post-COVID continue symptom afterwards. And yeah, I have a hard time eating those protein sources, which doesn't affect me anyway, because as I go into what I eat and stuff like that, you'll kind of understand that, yeah, my protein sources, yeah, they could be limited, but I generally have the same style of protein every day. My coworkers will tell you the same thing. So I entered the program in May. I had my 3 dietitian classes, which you are required to have, and my psych eval, which you're required to have, and I met with my surgeon. Now, the surgeon I had is the same one my husband had, and I was completely open to every single option that he would recommend for me to have surgery. And he decided that a RNY, or a Roux-en-Y, which is the total gastric bypass, or the if you're going from a VSG to an RNY, it's called a duodenal switch, which I just learned that the other day. So the surgery I had is completely reversible, and I had that on September 20th of 2022. And I felt great. I didn't have to do the very low calorie diet for the 2 weeks before I had surgery because I was already losing weight while I was in the program, and I was maintaining my health and wellness while I was seeing my dietitian, while I was seeing my the LPN, while I was seeing the other nurse practitioners. It wasn't an issue with me. I quit my job. I was focusing on my health and wellness. My husband was completely understanding of the fact that I wanted to focus on my weight loss, and he really wanted me to focus on content creation. And that's when I went back to creating content more so on my true crime channel. So I took time off of this channel after having my gastric bypass, and I'm really happy I did, because I was not mentally ready to share everything that I went through. And do I wish I took videos of myself throughout the process? Yes. But you know what? That process was so special and so different that not everybody can experience. Like, I have friends, or I know people that have had gastric bypass, and their story is so different in comparison to mine, because my body's a lot different than theirs. The way that I have treated this is a lot different than they have. And that's a whole nother aspect of this surgery. All right, so I rapidly lost weight for my first 3 months, and then I hit a stall at about, I think it was 5 months, and it lasted at least 2 months. And mainly it's because I had just gotten back to work. I went back into manufacturing, and my body was readjusting to things. And then I started working third shift, and the weight started falling off again. So from September to, I think, May 2022 into 2023, that's when I lost a lot more weight. And I have fluctuated up and down, and I'm completely fine with that. I'm healthy. I look healthy. I don't look like a skeleton. Well, unless you see like my collarbones and stuff like that. I do have areas that I need to work on, which is mainly my legs, and that's fine. I will have skin removal surgery in the future. That is something that I do want. My doctor is well aware of that. I have talked to her about that. And weight management has talked to me about it too. I actually keep forgetting to reschedule my 3-year post-op because I had to cancel it because of my work schedule, and then I just forgot to call them again because, you know, I'm human. I would say the biggest con that I have from this surgery is that I was a very healthy person before I had surgery. Like, I know people are gonna be like, you were a healthy person. No, I was. The only thing I knew that I had wrong with me was that I was anemic. Now I have, there's a lot going on. I've talked about it before. I have RLS, I have RAS, which is restless arm and restless leg syndrome due to iron deficient anemia. I've had IV iron. I had that back in June. That was not fun. And I had that five rounds of it. I might have to have it again. I take a ridiculous amount of iron every day, and it could be just a malabsorption of iron. That is possible. That is a side effect of this surgery, unfortunately. yeah, I have a lot of issues with my body now that I never had before. And when I saw the physiatrist for my EMG, which is an electromyography, I did a vlog that day and I told you guys about that. He was really confused as to why I'm feeling the pain now. And I was like, well, I had gastric bypass and I lost weight. And he's just like, did you lose feeling in anything before? And I said, yes, I lost feeling in my whole right arm once at work. And they just put it off as a radial nerve injury. And he asked me if I was dieting at the time. And yes, I was on the keto diet and I lost 60 pounds. And he was just like, huh, it's all correlated with me losing weight. So in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, is my body reacting now to having had the gastric bypass, and are my nerves finally waking up because there's nothing there bundling them and compressing them anymore? So now I feel all this pain. That's the thought I have about it. And it sucks to have that thought about it, but it's a valid thought because I don't know if it is right. I don't know if it is wrong. If it is right, then it just sucks. But if it is wrong, then that's fine. It's another thing we can cross off the list. My point of making this video is to not deter anybody from having weight loss surgery or getting the weight loss shots or anything. I also have the ability to get those GLP-1 shots. I think that's what they're called. I try not to focus too much on the weight loss communities anymore because it will make me get into my head. And I don't need that, especially where I feel better as a human. And where I feel that my surgery has been an overall success in comparison to a lot of other people. So I try not to focus on that at all. And that it definitely helps me thrive throughout the day and stuff like that. And my ultimate goal was to be alive longer. That was my husband's goal with having these surgeries, was to be able to be there for our kids long term, because we knew that if we stayed the size that we were, realistically, we probably would have died due to other problems that could have arisen, like a heart attack or COPD or anything like that. And I don't want that for my children. I would rather be around for them to make sure that they have both of their parents. You know what I mean? I am very open about my surgery. If people ask me about it, I will tell them about it. I do have lots of pros and cons. Another con is that I still don't get hungry. Part of my gastric bypass the full gastric bypass is cutting off the ghrelin of your stomach, which is the bad bacteria that makes you feel hungry. Yeah, I don't have any of that. And it should have come back, but it didn't. And I eat at the same times every day. I don't change it up. And it's the same thing at work, which works out really well because of my break times. So I have protein shakes every day still. I have protein bars every day still. I do not change that. Yeah, I do eat regular food, but I eat more vegetables than everything, and I eat more plant-based or vegan options than anything with regular protein. I drink lactose-free milk now because lactose hurts my my colon, and anything dairy really hurts my colon now. Yeah. It's really easy for me to overload my liquids now, or my water, which is something that I was used to before, right after I had the surgery. Not so much when I was younger and like right before the surgery, but when I was younger, I had a really hard time with my liquid intake because I would often be dehydrated. Like I always have either 1 or 2 drinks with me at all times. Like I have a water right over there and I have my coffee. So if you or anyone you know are interested in gastric bypass or vertical sleeve gastrectomy, definitely look at your pros and cons. Where I didn't have any pre-existing health conditions other than being obese, the gastric bypass is why my surgeon chose it instead of the VSG, because VSG you tend to have a revision down the road anyway, and your stomach can, yes, your stomach itself is surgically changed, but it's not the same way that the gastric bypass is. Like everything else is there for the sleeve, but gastric bypass, everything's still in my system. It's just not attached. So it's just rerouted in a different way than it was before. But if you're interested in gastric bypass, definitely look into it. I will say that they are being more selective when it comes to people having it, because they've seen an influx of people that are under 200 pounds, like 160 and up to 200, trying to get gastric bypass, and you don't need it. Gastric bypass is there, or weight loss surgery is there for those that it's life dependent. Yes, it can be elective, but if you are 250 pounds plus, I would say it's definitely for you. Or just look into the option with your doctor. And it is very scary. I will say that. I was low-key terrified, and then I was fine. And then the day before surgery, I was freaking out. And I didn't tell my husband because I didn't want him to freak out. But I was scared because we have our 2 young kids, and I wanted to make sure I was okay. But I bounced back really fast because I'm a mom and I have a extremely high pain tolerance. So I just kept going. So yeah, I hope if anybody has any questions while watching these, if you're watching this on TikTok, these multiples of these videos, or if you're watching this on YouTube, if you have any questions, just comment down below. I will try and answer them to the best of my ability. Because like I said, my experience with this is completely different than everybody else's that I know of. I haven't met another person that hasn't gotten their hunger back since having gastric bypass. And I could be wrong. There could be other people that are like that, but I haven't physically met them in person yet. And it would be kind of cool if I did. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little info session. And if you want to see more, if you want to see what I eat throughout the day, if you want to see like me pack my lunch, stuff like that, I will do that in the future. It's all like, if you want me to show you the more dietary side of it, I can. And obviously the lifestyle side of it, that's totally fair. I can do both. I'm up for all of it.